Right. Wait, what were we talking about? Oh, you thought you could distract me, eh? I remember. Set's your father, yes? Tell the truth. Anubis gazed across the courtyard. The sound of the jazz funeral was fading into the streets of the French Quarter. Yes, he said. At least that's what the legends say. I've never met him. My mother, Nefertiti, gave me to Osiris when I was a child. She gave you away? She said she didn't want me to know my father, but in truth, I'm not sure she knew what to do with me. I wasn't like my cousin Oris. I wasn't a warrior. I was a different child. He sounded so bitter I didn't know what to say. I mean, I'd asked for the truth, but usually you don't actually get it, especially from guys. I also knew something about being the different child, and feeling like my parents had given me away. Maybe your mom was trying to protect you, I said. Your dad being Lord of Evil and all? Maybe, he said half-heartedly. Osiris took me under his wing. He made me the Lord of Funerals, the keeper of the ways of death. It's a good job, but... You asked how old I was? The truth is, I don't know. Years don't pass in the land of the dead. I still feel quite young, but the world has gotten old around me, and Osiris has been gone so long. He's the only family I had. Looking at Anubis in the dim light of the graveyard, I saw a lonely teenage guy. I tried to remind myself that he was a god, thousands of years old, probably able to control vast powers well beyond magic toilet paper, but I still felt sorry for him. Help us rescue my dad, I said. We'll send Set back to the Duat and Osiris will be free, and we'll all be happy. Anubis shook his head. I told you. Your scales are broken, I noticed. That's because Osiris isn't here, I'm guessing. What happens to all the souls that come for judgment? I knew I'd hit a nerve. Anubis shifted uncomfortably on the bench. It increases chaos. The souls become confused. Some cannot go to the afterlife. Some manage, but they must find other ways. I try to help, but the Hall of Judgment is also called the Hall of Ma'at. It is meant to be the center of order, a stable foundation. Without Osiris, it's falling into despair and crumbling. Then what are you waiting for? Give us the feather, unless you're afraid your dad will ground you. His eyes flashed with irritation. For a moment I thought he was planning my funeral, but he simply sighed in exasperation. I do a ceremony called the opening of the mouth. It keeps the soul of the dead person from coming forth. For you, Sadie Kane, I would invent a new ceremony, the closing of the mouth. Ha ha! Are you going to give me the feather or not? He opened up his hand. There was a burst of light, and a glowing feather floated above his palm, a snowy plume like a writing quill. For Osiris's sake, but I will insist on several conditions. First, only you may handle it. Well, of course, you don't think I'd let Carter... Also, you must listen to your mother, to my mother, Nefertiti. Khufu told me that you were looking for her. If you manage to find her, listen to her. Easy, I said, though the request did make me strangely uncomfortable. Why would Anubis ask for something like that? And before you go, Anubis continued, you must answer 3 questions for me as you hold the feather of truth, to prove that you are honest. My mouth suddenly felt dry. What sort of questions? Any that I want. And remember, the slightest lie will destroy you. Give me the bloody feather. As he handed it to me, the feather stopped glowing, but it felt warmer and heavier than a feather should. It's a tail-end feather from a Bennu, Anubis explained, what you'd call a phoenix. It weighs exactly the same as a human soul. Are you ready? No, I said, which must have been truthful as I didn't burn up. Does that count as 1 question? Anubis actually smiled, which was quite dazzling. I suppose it does. You bargain like a Phoenician sea trader, Sadie Kane. 2nd question, then. Would you give your life for your brother? Yes, I said immediately. I know, surprises me too, but holding the feather forced me to be truthful. Obviously, it didn't make me any wiser. Anubis nodded, apparently not surprised. Final question. If it means saving the world, are you prepared to lose your father? That's not a fair question! Answer it honestly. How could I answer something like that? It wasn't a simple yes or no.